Are you looking for a version of G1 Ironhide that packs way more than just a couple of blasters? If X-Transbots was wondering whether they pulled it off, the answer is an overloaded, blast-pounding yes. They've gone above and beyond, packing in just about everything Ironhide ever used in the cartoon. Stick around to see if this new loadout delivers the full-on weapon specialist punch he's known for. This is the Mecha Index review for X-Transbots' unofficial rendition of Ironhide from the G1 cartoon. We have more reviews and tutorials coming, including Brave Troops Toys' highly anticipated upcoming unofficial take on a DLX-scaled transformable Optimus Prime from Rise of the Beasts. If you find this review helpful and want more, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for more. Now, we're mostly going to focus on accessories for this review. Articulation is going to be pretty much the same as X-Transbots' version of Ratchet, as well as transformation. We will get to his robot design later. Here are his accessories as packaged right when you unbox him. Wow, there is plenty to show for this guy. He and Ratchet are not merely repaints of each other. He's got very distinct tools and gadgets of his own, all of which were about bringing to life his appearance and actions from that G1 cartoon. First, we are going to cover is a set of his back thrusters that he used to fly in the cartoon. Check out those nice blast effects. They are also detachable, which means you can portray him standing while wearing them, without him flying, of course. You're going to use those two notches to tab them on to his back. Next, we have two of these hands, which you can use to depict him unleashing an acid blast with his hands from the cartoon. What you will do is transform up his hand and put it into that slot in the forearm of his arm. You are then going to peg that hand in the resulting notch. And here we have him. Look what he can do now. Fly up into the sky and rain down a whole hail of acid blast. This is Ironhide unleashing a payload unlike anything we have seen him before. He also comes with a missile launcher. Now, you can't attach it along with the thrusters on his back, even though I would have loved that to have been possible. But that, in my view, is just a pretty minor issue, as he's already packing an epic payload just with those acid blast hands and back thrusters. What you will do is plug those two notches into those ports at the back. And even though if he can't fly without those back thrusters, he can still unleash a very heavy defense against Decepticon attacks from the skies, from the ground. And pressing that button to shoot the missile is only the tip of the spear of the epic firepower he can unleash against any wave of Decepticons that dare try to tackle him. He then comes with his traditional two blasters, both accompanied with those cool cartoon blast effects, and on each side of the handle of each blaster, there is a tab in which he can peg into his hand so he can hold them securely. And as if all the extra firepower he's got just isn't enough for him, here is his shoulder cannon he uses to shoot liquid nitrogen at Starscream in one of the episodes. You can peg the cannon into that port on his shoulder right there. I also wanted to mention that he also has a third blaster that pegs into either of his hands, just the same way as his two other blasters. Moving on to his tools, we have a sort of metal detector he uses, which is integrated into his arm. So just like what we did before, we're going to transform up one of his hands and then attach that end into that resulting notch on his arm. And from here, we have recreated a classic cartoon depiction of him using his metal detector. And oh my goodness, we are still not done with his weapons. We have his flamethrower, in which you can attach to his back with those two notches on its side. And after doing that, you have a notch on its handle that you can peg into his hand for him to hold it securely. And now he can throw out a horrendous inferno that's gonna send Starscream squealing and flying back to the skies. Now, the next accessory is just a sticker that is meant to be put onto his windshield chest. I know that they were trying to further bring this guy to life based on what you can see on the sticker, but I frankly do not think this was necessary. Even if you were to put it on his chest, you're not going to be able to transform him unless you were to break the sticker, because you're going to have to break the flaps on those two sides of his chest away from the center to transform him. Just like Ratchet, he comes with two skis that peg into the same place at the bottom of each foot. Again, it's going to be quite difficult to get them to stay on, though for some reason, this time I was able to get them to stick. So you're just going to have to apply some extra force when you're pegging in his skis. You also have what appears to be the mini radar that can pop out of his forearm in the cartoon. You can peg this on either of his forearms, which each have a small hole in which you can put it on. He also has a Powerdrill that you can peg securely into the palm of either hand, or stow it by pegging it into that small hole into his shoulder. Here is his sled, where you can stow away pretty much all of his weapons and tools. Now, here is where I'm going to try to get him to the best configuration of his accessories onto his sled as best as I can. As you can see, I've already gotten his acid blast hands, two blasters, Powerdrill, and his back thrusters on at the front. I'm now going to show you how I will place his metal detector, which will be right behind that acid blast hand on this side. I'm then going to peg the nitrogen cannon right behind the other acid blast hand. Next, I'm going to first peg his arm radar into that small port on the back of his missile launcher. And then it's just a matter of pegging the missile launcher in that same place on the sled as Ratchet's. Notice also that I've already pegged the third blaster in the port just behind the metal detector. And lastly, I'm going to stow away the skis just like I did for Ratchet. And here is a wonderful shot of him in that snowy setting, as shown in one of the cartoon episodes, standing along with all of his other accessories stored on his sled, with the exception of his flamethrower, which is attached to his back. Now, he comes with 4 separate faceplates and an additional helmet, which he is pictured wearing at the top right, and that picture is of that additional helmet as it is when you unbox. The only difference is that he is wearing that additional helmet instead of the original helmet, aka the helmet he wears the moment you unbox him. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that the 2 faceplates on the left are the ones that fit on the original helmet, and the 2 on the right are supposed to be used for the additional helmet. The reason why is because the 2 on the right each have a notch that is shaped differently from the notch that is on each of the 2 on the left. And so the different notch corresponds to the shape of the port right on the back of the forehead of the helmet where the faceplate would peg into. Here he is wearing those additional faceplates for his original helmet Of course, the shiny red ones appear to be inspired from how he appeared in the Marvel Comics, and boy, can he shout out one of his iconic lines from the cartoon. Here is him with the additional faceplates for his additional helmet. Now, I still do want to get to his robot design. My goodness, look at that body sculpt. It just screams unabashed faithfulness to that G1 cartoon. It looks as if that exact Ironhide in the cartoon just popped straight alive out of that TV screen in a 3D model. Look at him. That metal making up his thighs truly shows that it is die-cast. We turn him around to his back. There is absolutely no back gibble whatsoever. The shape, the design, the coloring, it is exactly ripped from the cartoon, just as how it looked in that cartoon. Everything, every part of the transformation is packed in nicely to allow for that exact cartoon aesthetic. And even his hands look like they are made of at least some sort of metallic plastic. Even though this is meant to mimic his precise cartoon look, the paint job on his hands still make it look as if it can also appear in a live action movie. With that and the rest of the figure, we got something that is looking truly worth the collectible. On to his vehicle mode, same amazing look. It can also roll very well and smoothly on the ground. I just can't help at times but have fun rolling it on its wheels. Here's a look at it diagonally from the front. Here's how it looks straight at its bumper. Then we turn him to his side. Boy, I love the silver crumb on those tires. We now turn him to his rear, then to his other side. Again, can't help but have fun rolling him on the road. Here's how he looks from the top and the bottom. Here he is with his buddy Ratchet. Again, both of them sticking hard to cartoon accuracy with a nice light blue paint on their windows, while showing their collector's value with a shining silver paint on their tires and their front headlights. He is then lined up and viewed from their left side, showing potential for a very cool collector's lineup for G1 fans. And so there you had it, X-Transbots Ron. Overall, he is a solid figure. His own unique set of accessories really does so much justice to this character, bringing him to life in lots of very cool ways. Now, like Ratchet, you're going to have to put up with a very complex and at times floppy transformation, not to mention the same issues you will face when it comes to transforming his hands. I think for Ironhide, though, the transformation is just a little bit less complex, being that you don't have the emergency light bar at the top. But for each of these guys, X-Transbots has striven very hard to deliver for each of these two unique characters. So much to the point in which they are very, very, very far from being just repaints of the same mold. I think that if you indeed are a hardcore G1 fan, these are the most screen accurate renditions of these characters you can possibly get. I know that Fans Toys is also going to release their own version of Ironhide as well. Leave a comment below if you want me to review that and their Ratchet. Otherwise, X-Transbots' unofficial rendition of Ironhide is available on sale right now at Shozy Store, and they are selling it at the cheapest ever price I have found so far, which is just $112. If you're looking to buy this figure, now is the perfect time to buy it right now. And you can purchase it from Shozy Store in the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to get notified of more reviews. And until then, I'll see you next time.